You know, we grow up with this idea, this picture painted for us, of what success looks like. It starts early. They hand you a blueprint, go to school, get the grades, go to the right college, land the right job, climb the ladder, make the money, find the one, buy the house, retire on a beach somewhere. That's the script. That's the American dream, and it sounds good, right? Real good. I mean, who doesn't want that? I did, most of us do, so you grind. You wake up early, go to bed late. You chase goals like they're salvation. You sacrifice birthdays, time with your family, peace of mind. Because you're building, right? You tell yourself, I'm doing this for them. For the kids, for my future, for legacy. And then one day, you get there wherever there is for you. You've got the title. You've got the car with the seat that hugs you when you start it. The house with too many rooms and not enough laughter, the vacations, the applause, the admiration, and yet, there's this ache, a quiet little emptiness that creeps in when you slow down long enough to feel it. See, nobody tells you that you can win the game they told you to play, and still feel like you're losing, because you thought having it all would fix everything. That once you crossed that imaginary finish line, peace would come knocking. But peace doesn't ride shotgun in a Benz. Joy ain't in your tax bracket. Fulfillment can't be bought, gifted, or Instagrammed, and I know what that feels like. I've stood in rooms full of people and felt completely alone. I've smiled for the camera while my spirit was starving, because the world was clapping. But I wasn't clapping for myself. Let me tell you something I've learned. Success without alignment will wear you down like rust on gold. You might still shine, but inside, something's corroding. We live in a culture that tells you more is the answer. More followers, more deals, more hustle. But sometimes, more is the very thing pulling you further from yourself. So don't confuse achievement with arrival. Don't let the illusion fool you. You can have all the right stuff and still be in the wrong place. And if that's where you are right now, looking around at a life that should feel good but doesn't, I want you to hear this, you're not broken. You're just being invited to go deeper, not wider, not louder, deeper, because maybe having it all was never about collecting things. It was about connecting to something greater, something true, something eternal, and until you find that, no amount of success will ever feel like enough. There comes a point in life when you've got to stop asking, what do I want? And start asking, who am I? Because if you don't know who you are, the world will gladly assign you an identity. It'll put you in a box, label you, package you, sell you a version of yourself that fits their expectations, but has nothing to do with your soul, and that's how you get lost. Not by taking the wrong road, but by following a map that was never yours to begin with. See, the world tells you to look outside for direction, follow the trends, the culture, the money, the metrics, but let me ask you something real. What good is a compass that always points to someone else's idea of success? You can't borrow your purpose. You can't rent your identity. That's internal work. That's soul work. I've learned, sometimes the hard way, that you can be busy, loud, constantly in motion, and still going nowhere. Activity doesn't mean progress. Movement doesn't mean direction. And when that emptiness shows up, when the applause fades and the room gets quiet, you'll know. It's not that you've gone off course. It's that you never set your own course to begin with. We talk so much about goals. Set your goals. Hit your goals. But let me tell you something. Goals are just coordinates. If you don't have a destination that matters, then you're just driving fast toward emptiness. Purpose, that's your North Star. That's your internal compass. And it doesn't come from the crowd. It comes from the quiet. You've got to slow down enough to hear that whisper inside. That whisper that says, this is who you are. This is what you were made to do. But that whisper doesn't shout. It doesn't compete with the noise. It waits, patient, steady, deep. And sometimes you won't hear it until life strips everything else away. Until the job falls through, the relationship ends. The role you played for so long no longer fits. That's when the silence shows up. That's when you finally meet yourself. I've had real moments, where I was surrounded by success, but I felt like a stranger to myself. I had to strip away the performance, the image, the hustle, and ask the hard questions. What do I stand for? What feeds me, not just financially, but spiritually? What do I believe in when the lights go out and nobody's watching? Because your soul don't care about your resume. It's not impressed by credentials. It wants truth. It wants connection. It wants alignment. And here's the truth. Until you align your outer life with your inner truth, you'll keep feeling off center. Like something's missing, because something is. The answer isn't out there, it's in you. Always has been. But you've got to turn down the world to turn up your own voice. You've got to stop running from the silence and start trusting the stillness. Because when you finally get quiet enough, you'll realize you weren't lost. You were just disconnected from the compass that never stopped pointing you home. There's a moment, and maybe you've felt it, where everything slows down. Life stops feeling like a race and starts feeling like a riddle. You're surrounded by the things you thought would bring you joy, but instead of feeling fulfilled, you feel like a ghost in your own story. That moment right there, that's sacred, because that's not the end of your journey. That's the invitation to come back home. When you feel lost, it's not a punishment. It's a prompt, a signal, a divine tap on the shoulder saying it's time to remember your why, and not your goals. Not your 5-year plan, not your title, your check, or your public image. I'm talking about your why. The thing that used to light your chest on fire before the world told you to be practical. That thing that got you out of bed when nobody was watching. The thing that was bigger than money, deeper than status, louder than fear. You see, life has a way of pulling us off track. Not all at once, but little by little. We get caught up in the noise, in expectations, in chasing what looks good instead of what feels true. And somewhere along the way, we start living for validation instead of purpose. But your why, that's your anchor, that's your fire. I remember early in my career, before the big roles, before the stages and the suits, I was just a kid trying to make sense of this thing called life. I didn't have much, but I had a sense of calling. I didn't know where the path would take me, but I knew why I was walking it. It wasn't about being famous. It wasn't about being liked. It was about telling stories that moved people, making work that mattered, using the gift God gave me to touch something eternal in others. And let me tell you, every time I've drifted from that why, I've felt the shift. Like a boat unmoored, like a compass spinning with no direction, but every time I return to that core, why I started, who I'm doing this for, what I want to leave behind, I got recentered, realigned, refueled. Sometimes we think we need to reinvent ourselves when really, we just need to remember ourselves. Go back to the day you started. Remember what made your eyes light up before the pressure came. Remember who you were when you were dreaming, not performing. Maybe your why is your family. Maybe it's your faith. Maybe it's the younger version of you that promised never to give up. Maybe it's the people coming behind you, watching your every move, praying for permission to believe in something again. Whatever it is, don't let life bury it. Dig it up, dust it off, speak it out loud. Because when you return to your why, you don't just find direction. You find strength, you find clarity, you find peace, and in a world that keeps telling you to do more, be more, get more, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Your why is your flame, and when you protect that flame, when you feed it, honor it, live by it, you never really get lost. You just find your way back. Stronger, wiser, deeper, and more you than ever before. So now, let me ask you again, you have it all, but still feel lost. Good, because that feeling, that quiet ache inside you, that's not failure. That's not weakness. That's your soul calling you back to center. You see, the world will keep telling you to climb higher, move faster, collect more. But the truth is elevation without direction is just motion. And motion without meaning, that's how we lose ourselves. But tonight, right here, right now, you've got a choice. You can keep chasing shadows, or you can start walking in the light of your own truth. You can keep trying to impress the world, or you can finally come home to yourself, strip away the noise, let go of the illusion, silence the outside voices long enough to hear that still, small one inside. That voice, that's your compass, that's your why, that's your peace. And when you walk with purpose, when you lead with love, When you serve with intention, you don't need to have it all to feel whole. So go ahead, take a breath, reclaim your spirit, because you're not lost. You're just on your way back to what really matters, and the road home, it's already inside you. Thank you.